This is an authentic Persian rug, and we make many just like it here on the island nation of Bahariterra. And I don't know why my video thumbnail keeps ending up being the thumbnail banner for my YouTube channel of the roller coasters and palm trees. I want to get rid of that. It is 7:16 p.m. here in Bahariterra right now. Here's the beautiful wild Bahariterran rose bushes, almost done blooming. They got some energy to them left, but not a whole lot really. This whole area looks kind of empty and bare. But the jasmine flower finally fell off the jasmine bush. So you can see it down there. Looks like a plumeria, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm a little upset too. It's a shame to see it go. But, you know, it is what it is. Some animals been burrowing under here. Really nasty animals. Don't like what they did. But it is what it is, I suppose. Hopefully more jasmine flowers are coming and on the way. Inshallah, they just might grow some new flowers. So, there's about to be a thunderstorm because that's what happens about every night and some days. After all, it is summertime in the rainforest here in Bahariterra. Bahariterra black crepe myrtle looking okay. Not bad for a small tree. Most trees wouldn't bloom and produce seeds at this age. And the Bahariterra yucca tree is looking fine. It's got them trunks that look like a sable palmetto or cabbage palmetto palm, with all the little crisscrossing leaf stems that are dead. A nice smooth trunk there with detail on it. Yep, there's some seashells here, as we are in Pembroke National Seashell Garden, Bahariterra. Not really a lot has changed in the garden the last few days. The tiger lilies, that one is dead. This one is blooming. Some of these tiger lilies are done. The Bahariterran tiger lily. And I won't see this one have any more blooms for another year, inshallah. That one is a little behind though, mashallah. That might give us close to another month of blooms, if I can slow it down before it opens, without killing it. And Bahariterra banana tree is still the same it's been for the last couple months. The spear's been there for a few weeks now and it's might be growing. Cacti are okay. Bahariterra azalea is okay. Bahariterra rhododendron is okay. And Pembroke National Seashell Garden, it's just full of plants that can only be found Bahariterra, like the Bahariterra azalea bush. They are only found here. And of course there's the national flower, the Bahariterra hibiscus. It's been loving the rain we've been getting out here lately. Gotta say that about them. And of course we can't forget the national tree of Bahariterra, the Chamaedorea Bahariterra, or the Bahariterra palm, which is not to be confused with the Bahariterra date palm or the Bahariterra windmill palm, which looks like this. And I don't have a Bahariterra date palm. I don't see any here in this park yet. They might plant some. This is the park behind my house. And yeah, the Mandevilla diplodenia hybrid is blooming. And it is looking good. Quite good, very well indeed, mashallah. And the vinca vine is doing well, being an invasive species. Still haven't removed it because it's not out of control yet. Bahariterra bamboo's doing well. Growing them new leaves there. Bahariterra yucca tree over here hasn't have a trunk yet. Bahariterra swamp oak sapling. This one's still well. These two are still looking dead. I'm starting to lose hope on these two, but at least they still got that one. Mashallah. Maybe the thunderstorm today will give it some water and then sunlight will come. And the rainforest will naturally nurture it back to health, inshallah. Ta'ala. And the pink veined plant is still looking like itself. So I guess that's good. The invasive English ivy isn't out of control yet, so I don't want to be mean and kill it and remove it. But it's acting like English ivy, alright, trying to spread. So I probably put out 2 new leaves. And it's only been a few days. And they really start growing fast, putting out 6 leaves a day some days, once these things get a deeper system. And the Bahariterra coastal holly is looking good. The frog pond wheelbarrow is okay. Hang on. Sorry there, I briefly lost connection. Had to talk to my mom on the phone. The Bahariterra date palm germination station is doing well. We're gonna grow some Bahariterra date palms. And actually, for the last 2 or 3 days, I think it was, I've been noticing this right here. A little tiny green sprout coming up. And you know what? I don't even know if it's a sprout or not now. But I hope it is. And I really love this. These diplodenia vines over here. I have neighbors who planted them. They're starting to pop up on this side of the fence, and I love it. I really hope they produce blooms on this side of the fence too. I don't even know if anyone's noticed them creeping over here, but I do, and I love it. Absolutely love it. It's about ready to branch out. Look at that. Mashallah, beautiful, alhamdulillah. And you know what? It just keep growing. I love it. I want to almost wrap it in like what they call Christmas lights to try and protect it during the winter if we have an unusually cold winter. This is zone 10A, so typically it gets down to 30 Fahrenheit. We are high above sea level. And I just now realized there's a leaf here too. A little vine here. Ooh, they really planted them a little ways down. There's some over there even. See the flower, right? So, they're really growing a little ways down the fence. Those aren't diplodenias. This is something else I'm happy to see though. These are azaleas, Bahariterra azaleas, I believe. And you know what? They're peaking on this side. And I love that too, because they have beautiful blooms in the spring and they're an evergreen. That's something I need. More broadleaf evergreens with beautiful blooms that look exotic. Especially something that blooms in the spring or winter time. And the ants are all about doing their business. Oh yes, there are lots of ants in certain parts of the Pecan Vista Mountains of Bahariterra. And they are all over the place. Pretty easy to find and hard not to notice. And I'm sure you hear the cicadas too. Whoa, what was that? I don't know what that is. But yeah, it's hard not to notice these guys. They race each other all the time. People don't believe me when I say there's ants racing. Go, 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 go. Get to the queen. It's about to storm. Go, go, go. Zira, zira, zira. Yokasamen babad. Yeah, they're moving fast. And they're pretty cute little buggers. This thing blooms in like February. It's a broadleaf evergreen. I love it, but you gotta watch out for it because there's really big thorns that'll stick ya. They're kind of dull because I've been messing with the thorns on accident, rubbing them, trying to find the best spot to hang a bat house on. You know what? I think I got a colony of Bahariterra brown bats in here, but I can't show you because they might get disturbed and leave. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it. And it is evening here. I believe it is 7:27 p.m. and the sun goes down at around 8:30. So yeah, we got about an hour of daylight left. The coconut tree's dead. The unusually cold winter, actually it was 8B instead of 10A. Heavy frost. And them lizards, there's something called a southeastern five-lined skink in the southeastern USA. Some of them made it to Bahariterra, very few. They were inbred and had all kinds of bad deformities. The weak and deformed and disabled ones weaved themselves out the gene pool, leaving a few strong ones left to spread across the islands. And ta-da, new little subspecies, the Bahariterra skink lizard. And they'd like to do this in a mixture of clay and volcanic soil. This is the ideal habitat for them to punch random holes in the ground. So I put some crushed chili pepper and human hair in there and they don't come back. Then I can plant some date seeds in there and then fill it up with black sand from the volcanic beaches in Puahalwaha or Halahalweyaka. And then the date palm grows. And they say, I'm gonna chew the roots of this date palm. They try to reclaim their old territory by doing that. Where the hole used to be. They're back again to chew date roots, so I drive them out. The ones in the southeastern USA don't eat people's palm trees. They just burrow. The ones here eat people's plants. They've had to evolve and change their diet a little bit. I don't really believe in any kind of evolution like chickens coming from dinosaurs, but I believe in small-scale evolutionary stuff, you know. A cat can come from a wild cat, but it's still a frickin' cat. A tiger is just a giant cat that likes being outdoors. Because it's bigger, it's got bigger balls, and it'll be all tough, and you don't want to mess with it like you would a house cat. But it's still just a big old cat. It's just not domesticated and tamed. But you don't see people coming from monkeys. People and monkeys look similar because they need hands and fingers for holding onto trees. We come from similar places, and we do similar things. But we're not from monkeys or related to them. People just want to believe that because they're weird, and they probably want to have a family with monkeys because they're crazy. And check out this right here. The wind blew very strong today. Good thing no one was in there trying to have a hot tub. The island nation of Bahariterra in the last few years has rapidly transformed into a more conservative Muslim country. And people in Bahariterra would love to be in private if they go in a hot tub and have the boys and girls all take turns unless it's being rented out by a single couple and or their kids. And that's because men and women who aren't related or married shouldn't see each other like that in many people's beliefs and opinions. And yeah, that's how it's happened in Bahariterra. And a lot of people say, oh, it's barbaric, it's 13th century, it's ridiculous. Well, yeah, well, it seems to work just fine. And you know what? No one said that people were unequal. I don't know why everybody thinks that if somebody become a Muslim or is one, that they treat different sexes differently. I mean, sure, you'd want to put a woman in woman's clothes and a guy in guy's clothes usually, but they're not unequal. They all should have the same rights. Of course, that doesn't mean, that a woman should have the right to be get into a fist fight with a grown man, hitting a little 18-year-old girl and stuff. That is just so wrong, you know. You have to respect women. That's what our faith and belief teaches us. That's men respect women, and vice versa too. And no, it's not sexist for women to also respect men. And you know what? It's good when everyone likes each other and respects each other and treats people equally. And if you call equal treatment sexist, you're crazy. Let me tell you some very true wise words. The people who talk about how there needs to be tolerance are the most intolerant people. The word tolerance doesn't mean what you think it means. If you have to be tolerant towards someone, it just means you're putting up with their crap and that they're, doing crap that's wrong, or, they're just wrong. Tolerant is when you're tolerating something that you shouldn't. Like tolerating rats running in your basement. If someone says you need racial tolerance, that's a racist thing to say. All races are equal and color doesn't really change people that much. It's not something that you should need to discuss having to tolerate. It's just a thing that people like to focus on too much that really shouldn't matter. It's just a color. And all people are beautiful in their own different ways. Those were some wise and true words, not an opinion. If you can't accept that, that's your problem. Let me show you. This storm is moving in. You can actually see those gnarly looking cloud formations, right? Yeah. It's coming this way. There's whole huge mountains of water vapor about to crash down from the sky. It's gonna pour buckets. Look at those cumulonimbus clouds. Storms are coming to Bahariterra. They've crossed the Atlantic and they're up against the Pecan Vista Mountains, where I live. When these clouds make their way up here, they come to the side of the mountains and the wind starts blowing them up the mountainside where the air is colder at higher elevation. The clouds freeze and drop snow on the high cold mountains. Some of the rain falls even further down lower and it melts back into rain again, and it lands down here in the subtropics. Some of it lands down in the tropics in the capital Banda as warm rain, where the friction of falling through the air really warms it up by the time it gets down to sea level. And it's also a tropical climate down there, where it rarely ever gets below 50 Fahrenheit, which is probably like 10 Celsius, I think. And you know what? The island nation of Bahariterra is a pretty cool place to be right now. It's a good spot for lightning spotting. If you aren't afraid, it's a beautiful show. It's like fireworks, but not harmful to the environment and caused by natural processes. Lightning shows happen all the time in Bahariterra, and we still have the Coconut Festival, which lasts from 2 months, from the first day of May until the last day of June. Even on rainy nights, every night for 2 months straight during the Coconut Festival in Bahariterra, everyone here on the island's lunches firework. The smoke is so thick it circles the earth multiple times, and people in Portugal have often complained about having asthma attack if they live high up in the mountains or flying an airplane with the window open. Which, why do you need to fly an airplane thousands of feet in the air with the window open? Anyway, yeah. The skink lizards in Bahariterra really know how to make a mess and be a pest, but that's just their nature. You can't blame them for it. This hole is really freaking deep. It's deeper than you think it is. You think I buried that hole? It's still there. It's just the dirt's not falling down in it. It's a super deep hole. This rain is going to cause the dirt to collapse down in there, and you'll see it again. Inshallah, it will be there again in the morning. Now look at this one. This is a really deep one. And it's still not full. They have tunnels under the ground. Here be another one. really helps drain this hard soil that's a mix of volcanic ash and clay. Really fine particles that stick together easily. And, you know, it's not like sand grains which are really big. The wind isn't blowing that bad before the storm right now. As you can see, since I last filmed the big mountainous looking clouds from over here, they've shifted this direction a little to the left, which means the wind is coming out of the southwest south. The wind is coming from this direction, and in are coming some big clouds blowing from the southwest south kinda. They're heading north to Mount Pecan Vista's peak, which is back behind me, as I'm in Newport Banda, Bahariterra, which is on the side of Mount Pecan Vista, low enough that it's still warm and it's a subtropical, tropical kind of climate. And the mountains are to the north of me, in the center of the island. I'm a little closer to the south coast. Newport Banda, Bahariterra is in between Crater Village and the capital city, Banda. Banda is on the coast, down at sea level, and it's tropical. Crater Village is in the crater on top of Mount Pecan Vista, next to the lake in the bottom of the volcanic crater that forms from the rainwater settling there. And that lake is called Lake Pecan Vista, and out of it flows the Pecan Vista River, which flows down the south side of Mount Pecan Vista through this city that I'm in, Newport Banda, which has a port in it, which is where the city got its name. And then eventually it drains into the Pecan Vista River Delta, and on high parts of the river delta, down near sea level, is where the capital city is Banda Bahariterra is built, down at sea level in the true tropics. And then, out beyond that, is the saltwater marshes and the brackish water ponds and a really coastal marshy area. And out beyond that is a couple barrier islands called the Bahariterra Outer Banks, which are not to be confused with the North Carolina Outer Banks, which also have some marshy areas near them called the Pamlico Sound in North Carolina, USA, which is where planes coming to Bahariterra from the US often come from. Seaplanes. But anyway, the Bahariterra Islands here, we have our own little Outer Banks, some barrier islands south of Banda, the capital city, just beyond the Pecan Vista River Delta. They're fed by the sand and mud deposits from the Pecan Vista River. And that's what builds the islands, and the waves deposit them there. They're like sandbars that sit 5 to 12 feet above the water, and people built up on them. People exported volcanic ashes. Whenever Mount Pecan Vista erupted, they swept the ashes out the streets and laid it on the ground on the Bahariterra barrier islands. They used that to build up the soil to raise the islands higher above sea level so that people could build stilted houses on them, build some roads that are raised up a little so they won't flood during hurricanes and stuff. Anyway, and that is how people can live on barrier islands in Bahariterra and never experience the flooding that other barrier islands get usually. And the water eventually flows beyond the coastal marshes through some inlets and passes beyond the barrier islands to the true Atlantic Ocean, out over the Bahariterra banks. If it goes beyond the coral reef, there's the sun drop off and it's just the ocean floor, really. That's how nature works, my friends. That is a brief description of the Pecan Vista River system and how it functions. And those are mountains of water vapor up there. I just saw a bat streak across the screen. It was diving to go take refuge in the rainforest, which is a smart thing to do if they can find a big strong branch to grip on. These winds are going to be very, very strong and hard, very hard. The trees will drop branches all the time. So the bats and birds are all going to take shelter in these trees that lay out here. And I'll tell you what, the birds love the green trees. They are huge out here, 4 times bigger than houses easily. And they can still grow close together even with their massive size, not need a super huge trunks. This is Belvoir Circle in Newport Banda, Bahariterra. And it is a French name. They actually spelled the name wrong on the street sign. If you want to find it on the Bahariterra Island Light app, you have to spell it with E on the end and no I. I dare you guys to try and locate me. We have a very good restaurant that serves delicious food on the downstairs level of the home. The wind blowing on my legs from the store moving in, moving the little leg hairs that I have as a human being, naturally, made me feel like I have ants on my legs.